Hey guys, I'm going to show you today how to do an undersuit for the Bandai model kit. So to start, all you're going to do is clip off the ends of the shoulder pieces where the armor would normally rest. Then you're going to take a thin strip of, it's like pantyhose or leggings. You're just going to take a thin strip and you're going to wrap that around the neck. So once you have the legging wrapped around the neck joint, you're going to move on to the shoulder joint. So right underneath where the articulation will come from that ball peg, you're going to want to put an even thinner strip of that legging around there. Just make sure that you're using the thinnest part of the legging, so like from the hip down to upper thigh, it's going to be even like a thicker piece of material. So just make sure you're using that thinnest part, or else your figure won't work right. Awesome. So you're going to do that for both sides of the shoulder, and then you're going to move on to the knees. So both knees, and then this is the same for the elbow joints. I just like to put, so it's going to be a longer strip, and just make sure that it covers like where the joints are going to peg into the thigh armor and the leg armor, and then from the bicep armor to the forearm guards. Just make sure it comes a little bit longer, because you can always trim that down. But I just put my glue right along the seam where the knee armor is going to be, and then on the back side of the elbow joint where the elbow pad's going to be, and then just trim the top with some scissors once you're done. Alright, so once you finish your knee joints and your elbow joints, you're going to move on to the torso part. And for this, I use like a 6" by 4" strip of legging. You're just going to go from the top down. So you'll see I start at the neck and I wrap it around the under part of this, and you're just going to want to pull it really tight and maybe spin it a few times. You want this pretty darn tight. So once you have that nice and tight, you're going to start putting the back plate and the chest plate on. And you'll notice on the insides of those, there's two little pegs where they lock into place together. And the cloth is going to get in the way of that. So you're going to have to use some clay sculpting tools and toothpicks and stuff to get that out of the way, so they'll peg in together. So I'm just going to cut where the neck pegs into the neck joint, and then the two bicep joints, so that they plug into the armor a little bit easier. Just make sure that you clean up your cloth everywhere. You're going to have little bits of cloth that stick out of joints and stuff. So just keep looking and you'll pick up on that, especially around the arm joints. Now for the cod piece, you're going to do the same thing you did for the chest, but it's just from the bottom up this time. So you're going to start at the legs and have the same size square, pull it tight, and you're going to repeat the same process. Again, same thing here. You're just going to want to clean up the edges so that the armor locks into place. Just some tinkering. I'm using an X-Acto here, but you can use clay sculpting tools or toothpicks or anything that can get into those hard to reach places. All right, so the last step is the shoulder pieces. So I'm just gonna trim the inside, these little connector pieces to the shoulder joint. I'm just gonna trim those out so it sits more naturally on the shoulder. Just be super careful because these are really brittle and you might break it. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a thin piece of legging, really small, and you're just gonna make a little loop on the end closest to like the top of the bicep armor. You're gonna make a little loop down there. And then the last part is you're just gonna do the same sort of size strip of legging. You're just gonna put it on the very top of the armor and make it about a ½ an inch long, maybe a little bit shorter. You're gonna have to play around with that. And it's just gonna feed right underneath where the shoulder connectors come from the chest plate to the back plate. And that's gonna sit. So you're gonna wrap it underneath the joint by the bicep armor, and then you're gonna put it underneath that little strap connecting the front and back chest plate. Once you've got that shoulder pegged into place, you're done. So the only thing you have to do now is plug in your other armor bits. And the hardest thing you'll run into is sometimes like the straps on the front side of the bicep armor or the back side of the knee are kind of hard to put in if you put too much glue on there. So just be careful when you're putting those into place or else you break them. And then just clean up and it'll look good. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not super complicated, but it ends up looking really good. So thank you guys so much for watching, and may the force be with you.